Hey, it's Mary Sheila, and I am so excited that you signed up for my virtual fermentation class. You're going to learn so much, and you're going to have the skills and the tools to ferment for the rest of your life. And if you're already a fermenter, you're going to be in good company. We're going to have a lot of fun. So I just want to explain to you a little bit about how the class is going to work and how you can be prepared so that it's more seamless for you and for all of us when we're together. So as you know, I broke the class into two parts, and the first part's going to be in your kitchen. So you're going to want to find a place where you can put your computer or your iPad or whatever technology you have so you can see me and what's going on. And it is helpful to maybe use a computer or an iPad over a phone. If you just have a phone, that's fine. But let me just show you, first things first. When you get your Zoom set up, I always try to explain this to people when they're on there, but by now we're probably all Zoom pros. You're going to want to download it ahead of time. Make sure you get it on your device. You can mute yourself right here. So we'll probably do some muting for you, but we're not going to want to hear everybody's chopping and all that at the same time. But up here, it's only me on here right now, so you're not going to be able to see this, but up here in the corner, so it's right here in the corner of my screen, if you could see that, on the right hand corner, there's a little icon, and that icon is where you can make it like a Brady Bunch view of everybody or the speaker view. So while we're in class learning how to ferment, you might want to play with that setting in the top right corner so that you can get maybe more of my view from what I'm doing. And then later, when we're not fermenting anymore and we're just doing lecture and Q&A, you can play with that same setting and you could put us in Brady Bunch view and then you could see everybody at the same time. So we're going to be making 3 recipes in this class. One recommendation I have is use a cookie tray or some kind of platter that you have, or just some way of saying put all the ingredients for each recipe in a different tray or platter so that when we're working on one, you could just bring it over, do your thing, and then move everything out and then bring the other one over. Okay, and so that would be a good way to go. Make sure you have like a good cutting board and a knife, and clean your kitchen well the night before just so that you feel like you're ready. And don't let your family in there until after class. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, it'll be nice if you have kind of a nice, clean, organized kitchen. Get the list and play with it. And I'm happy to help you be creative. You don't have to have everything on the list. So we're gonna make, the first thing we're gonna make is fermented vegetables from, I call them naturally fermented garden veggies, but it could be farmer's market veggies, but it's just the stuff that's in abundance in the summertime. The recipe, it makes enough for like 2 to 3 mason jar fulls, quart-sized mason jar. I definitely recommend the wide mouth. You can certainly do it with the small mouth, but it's a little harder to push everything down, but it can be done. So if you're like, well, gee, all I have is all these smaller mouths, we can make it work. I really like these plastic lids. I know they're plastic, but I like these for fermenting because they don't rust. But these work just as great. And you don't have to have, you can reuse something that you already have. Like this is a coconut, jar. Any other kind of jar you can use. You don't have to use a mason jar, but they're just, we love mason jars. So you want to have some mason jars. You can get them at the hardware store, and a lot of hardware stores even sell the white caps right now. If you have time to order any online, you can, but I wouldn't worry about it. Use what you have. So the vegetables, use what you have, buy something, listed out the more firm ones that usually ferment a little bit better. And then there's a whole thing on spices. Pull out your spices in your cupboard, go through them, think about what sounds good to you, and we could play with that too. But it doesn't have to be the exact spices that I recommend, so have fun with the spices. You're going to want to make sure you have some salt, not white table salt or just white kosher salt, but a good either a sea salt, an ocean salt, or a mountain salt like the pink Himalayans, or there's other kinds. So get some good salt if you don't have some. That's a pretty minor expense. And usually with the first recipe, if you can get your hands on like a couple grape leaves or and there's amounts on here, or some oak leaves, or just even some tea leaves, some black tea leaves, because we're going to add something with tannins. I'll talk more about that, but it helps make your ferments crisp. And then we're also going to make some sauerkraut. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So good. And again, this is where you can play with flavors. So this is the time to see what I recommend. Use what you have, use what you love, and pull out your spices. And then last but not least, we're going to make a shrub, which you are going to love. This is an opportunity, again, even if you have any frozen berries in your freezer, or if you can get some berries, this is the beginning of strawberry season, so that's something that I recommend. Again, if you don't have everything, don't sweat it. We can improvise. I'm going to help you do that. That's what it's all about. But learning how to ferment is such an amazing skill. It has been a game changer for me. I don't even know where my health would be if I wasn't fermenting, and I have some funny ferment stories that I'm going to share with you in the class as well. So print out your ingredient list, do the best that you can, and if you're like, gee, I really do not like ginger or cumin or blah, 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 then get the spices and herbs that you like. And one other thing I wanted to make sure that you had for the class is a couple big bowls. So, you know, you could use a glass one, you could use metal, but basically one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be, you know, putting all of our ingredients in and then making it a ferment. Sometimes people use their hands. Use something to pound with. I'm just showing you an example of a stainless steel cup that you can pound with. You can use your hands, you can use a blender or a Cuisinart. I have this really cool pestle that's from Africa that goes with a mortar, so you could use something like that, but I know not everybody has these cool things in their kitchen. This is a smaller one. Sometimes I use a rock, a clean rock. So there's a lot of things you can use, but I just want you to know you're gonna wanna have a couple big bowls, at least one. Yeah, get your kitchen ready and make sure you have your jars. Borrow some from a neighbor if you need to. I do always like to make sure they're pretty clean before I ferment. It's not like they have to be sterile, but you know, if I pull them out of my cupboard, they're usually clean because they came out of my dishwasher. Okay, I'm a rambling on. I can't wait till our class. I'm so excited that you're gonna be there. So once we do the ferments, we will take a break and you can have lunch, you can clean up your kitchen, and then we'll reconvene where you don't need to be in your kitchen the next time. You can be in a nice cozy spot, you just had lunch, maybe you'll have a cup of tea, bring your notes, and let's talk ferment. I'll share a whole lecture with you. I'm going to record everything so you can listen to it again. I will send you the recording afterwards, and then we'll have time for Q&As. And this is where we can get into the nitty-gritty, like, gosh, what's the best ferment for me if I, you know, can't do dairy, or I want to lose weight, or, you know, I feel like I'm really dry, or I get yeast infections all the time, or I just got off of antibiotics, right? That's where we get into the nitty-gritty, and it's kind of fun to see, like, what's the best ferment for you, your condition, or your family members, so you start to understand how they work in the body. So yay! I'm excited. I've been teaching these classes for years now, and I am just excited to be teaching one again. It's going to be super fun. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.